Welcome back, everybody. Rhori Johnston with you on Open Line on this Thursday night here on News Channel 5 Plus. Our final full segment, so if you've been watching and thinking about maybe calling in, do it now, 737 Plus. If you have a question or comment for our guest tonight. And our guest, once again, is Jamie Pruett, one of the three co-founders, co-chairs, I should say, of the Nashville chapter of a group called Ben's Friends in about 20 plus cities. Markets around the country, started in Charleston, and this is a group that wants to help those in the hospitality industry, which we know here in Nashville is such an important part of our local economy. Those who are dealing and suffering with addiction. Huge issue. I'm going to read a little bit more here about some of the stats. This is, I think, from the American Addiction Center's website. Hold on, I had a good one here. In 2015, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Service Administration reported that employees in restaurants and hotels had the highest rates of substance abuse out of the entire American workforce. I know you're nodding, you know about this. And again, you know, these workers thrive on the adrenaline of high-paced, high-stressed environments. They're expected to think on their feet, work grueling shifts, perform tasks outside their trained job functions, and stay late to clean up, all while being meticulously professional. There is always, almost, alcohol on hand to mitigate the mental and physical strain of the job. And then this article ends with, which is something that this group and others are tackling, and I know that restaurant groups and ownership groups are trying to tackle, that this is a culture, this business that celebrates excess. When you think about it, especially in Nashville, the idea of recovery often has been seen as a liability, an impediment to getting the job done. Your proof and others saying, hey, that is not the case. Right. It is not an impediment. It's actually going to lead to more success in the long run. And that's what this group is hoping to prove and help with so many workers. Again, it's 11 a.m. to noon every Mondays over at Oak Steakhouse. A real laid-back, casual, right? Very informal. How much are you able to learn best practices from Charleston or from the other, you know, have you had time yet to reach out to other chapters, or are you just kind of busy getting it started here, and in due time maybe we'll meet with, if you're traveling, you know, and you know there's a Ben's Friends chapter in another city, knock, knock, let's get together, tell me what's working, what isn't, right? I mean, just, you want to learn as much as you can.
Absolutely, it really does come back to that sense of community. That knowing that anywhere I am in the country, especially in the culinary and hospitality hotspots, odds are some of my people are there. I've been, you know, a great example of how willing other members all over the country of Ben's Friends are to support and show up for and encourage. July 18th, I celebrated my recovery date, and that morning, as I was getting ready to go to work at the bakery where I do what I love to do, my phone began to go off just incessantly, just boom, 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 notification after notification. And I immediately kicked into, oh no, what's happening at work? What's going on? No one contacts me this early in the day. And when I looked at my phone, I had no less than 40 text messages from all over the country, people that I've never sat in the same room with, who were congratulating me. But knew of your story. But knew. And knew this date. Exactly. Was an important one to you. Because of this community. See, that would just, I mean, you know, I'm older now, so that would just make me just fall apart. Oh, I sat on the front porch at my house, and I bawled. Boo-hooed. It was amazing. And it's a good thing, because you're just like, wow. What a feeling that is, you know. What is it about, you know, I told you I worked in the business years ago, and there really is. It's some kind of it's a camaraderie, it's a connection, you know, and it worked at one restaurant, and you go to another, and it's like, hey, what do you need? And, you know, not necessarily there was a lot of free stuff all the time, but, you know, you got taken care of. And then when you saw other workers come in, you took care of, you know, it was just kind of a, you're one of us, right? And it's such a big industry, but it's a, you know, this little kind of club. Absolutely. It just, there is that sense of camaraderie that comes from shared experiences, just being in the trenches together. I mean, one of the greatest natural highs I've ever felt in my life was in my days as a line cook down in Orlando, Florida, leaving a kitchen after serving almost 1,800 people dinner and cooking for all of these people coming in from all over the country, and us walking across my fellow line cooks and I walking across the parking lot after that dinner shift, just dragging, just feeling like we were wading through quicksand because we were that physically exhausted. But we all just looked at each other and were like we did this. We rocked that out.
Rocked it.
We are pretty spectacular.
Yeah,
you know,
it's a tough thing.
That creates a bond, unlike any other industry that I've worked, and from that comes that sense of like just being so tight knit and looking out for one another.
It's similar in this business here. We talk about adrenaline here in the news business and any kind of news business. And it took me a long time to realize, you know, that hey, adrenaline it's a big part of my job. I am ruled by the clock. You know, I mean, just a minute ago she said 2 minutes in my ear. You know, and it's just, to me, it's natural, ruled by the clock. What do you think right now in Nashville? Is it alcohol? Is it across the board? What do you think is one of the biggest problems that hospitality workers are dealing with? Is it fentanyl, all, or is alcohol really at the top because it's so readily available?
You know, for me personally, the substance was a symptom. You know, for me, it ran so much more deeply. It was in mental health issues and emotional issues that I had just never been willing to address.
Yep.
And that's, you know, again, I'm speaking from my personal experience. And honestly, the medication of a substance kind of is what I use to help dull that down. And then being able to get into that frenetic pace and the chaos of a kitchen and a restaurant kind of quieted that down too. But then when all of that's over, it all comes rushing back in, and it's back to the self-medicating. And for me, I mentioned the struggle I had early in recovery and wanting to stay in the industry and can I be sober. There was a profound sense of isolation and loneliness.
Wow.
Because I knew that the drinking had gotten out of hand, but at the same time, what do I do for connection, for community, for fellowship?
This group is going to help. We got to take a quick break, wrap things up after this.